All right, everybody, welcome in. Let's talk about Venus, specifically Venus in retrograde happening on the 1st and 2nd of March, depending on where you are on the planet. So this isn't just a reading for divine feminines, but I certainly am talking to the divine feminine in you. We all have it in us. So I'm going to look at the astrology of this in more depth in the extended. So if you're not an astrology buff, you don't have to go into that to understand what the reading is holding for you. But we'll go deeper into the astrology of Venus and let you know who's going to be most impacted by this. One of the things I want to say to you about this Venus retrograde is every 8 years, Venus retrogrades in the same sign. So I want you to look back to 2001, 2009, 2017. What was going on for you in the early part of the year, like January through April or so? What was going on for you during those times? Again, 2001, 2009, 2017, because that's when Venus did a very similar kind of retrograde to where we are now. Venus retrograding in Aries. Okay, and there's a distinctly different energy of Venus in Pisces where it is super comfortable. Venus loves being in Pisces. It feels easy. Okay, Venus in Pisces loves that. But when Venus moves into Aries, it gets a little irritated and kind of maybe decides to go a different direction, or it becomes more active. Okay. So Venus and Pisces, like things just come to me. It just comes to me. But when Venus moves into Aries, there's kind of this conflict, and Venus does not like conflict. Venus is all about harmony and love, right? So Venus does not like conflict. So there's some kind of conflict about getting what you want. All right. So let's start the reading here. And the dates really are early March until April 12th, when it will go direct again. It'll go all the way back into Pisces. So we're going to have this terrain in the sky rolled over 3 times. Venus moved into Aries from Pisces, 11, 10 degrees. Now it's going to go retrograde back into Pisces. Then it's going to go direct again over the same terrain. So you might, with any retrograde, that's true. And you may notice that, like, okay, I did one thing when Venus was direct. During the retrograde, I might make a different choice. And then I get to go over the same terrain again. And this is a lot of times people who study such things talk about lovers coming back, or, making moves, or having babies, or ending relationships that have outlived their purposefulness, because Venus then takes some kind of action. So let's see what the reading says. Out of the mess comes elegant order. Close your eyes to open your heart. It's very Venus energy. Your greatest joy pollinates the world. That too. About joy and fun and lightheartedness. You are perfectly imperfect. Wow. Okay. So whoever is resonating with this reading, there's something about not throwing out the baby with the bathwater, about not trying to understand that just because things aren't perfect doesn't mean they're needing to be thrown away. And I feel like that's the wisdom that happens in this retrograde, is that, I'm going forward into Aries and I'm like, I don't really think I'm reevaluating, right? Venus in retrograde is reevaluating. Either I have a blind eye to things, because when it goes back into Pisces, Pisces can be about illusion or disillusion or rose-colored glasses, and saying, okay, I got into Aries and like, nah, this doesn't work for me anymore. I'm going to reevaluate. And then when I go forward in Aries, in Pisces, and then into Aries, I might make a different choice. Okay. And there's something about like accepting something less than you deserve, and trying to make a silk purse out of sow's ear, or trying to like retrofit people into an idea that you have of them. You had an illusion about this person, and now the illusion is like coming apart at the seams. There's no more illusion. So even though things are, it's like the extremes here. If you thought somebody was perfect, right, put them on a pedestal, and then they show their true colors. Now, when you go forward, you have a different image of who they are. The same thing is true about, like, whether that person is showing themselves to be not such a good person or showing themselves to just be human. Like, you're going to need to make a determination which that is. Is this person just flawed, like we all are? Hello, Venus, you're flawed too. Or is it that actually this doesn't work? All right. Can be true of jobs, can be true of any relationship right now. This is a reevaluation time. And you might be like, I was seeing something that wasn't really there. So now I got to get real. Okay. Because eventually, I'll talk about how Venus is talking to the other planets. Venus is going to conjoin Saturn, and Saturn's like the planet of reality. Okay. So there's this like, hey, big reality check here. All right. So underneath is the Knight of Wands. Look at this, the Queen of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the Queen of Wands, and the Chariot. So there's definitely somebody that maybe you saw as more mature than they were, because this Knight of Wands is very immature. And it's like, look at him looking at her, and she's really using her intuition. So has she seen him correctly, or has she seen him through rose-colored glasses, someone she wants him to be? And I feel like this has an interesting twist here, in that it's like, well, I'm going to determine what I want. I'm not going to try to retrofit it on another person. I'm just going to be like, okay, well, part of this reimagining and reevaluating is like, okay, well, this is what I want, universe. Maybe I wasn't clear because things were kind of easy in Pisces and things were just coming to me. And now that they're going to be in Aries, now that they're in Aries and we're going retrograde, now I kind of have to make clear to the universe what it is I really want. Maybe I wasn't clear. Okay. So Chariot energy, Mars, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, that's true. We'll talk about a little bit about Mars too, because Mars is direct in Cancer now. And that is about going forward, taking action. It's interesting to note that Aries and Cancer are both cardinal signs, which is about taking action. The feminine planet of Venus is in the masculine sign of Aries. The masculine planet of Mars is in the feminine sign of Cancer. So there is this reevaluating. I feel like the feminine energy, the Venus energy in us, is being reevaluated as to what our wishes, hopes, and dreams are, what our heart wants. And the masculine energy says, I'm now willing to take action based on my heart's desires. So there's a nice mirroring there going on. Okay. And since they're both in cardinal signs, there's a really beautiful energy of taking charge. However, Venus going retrograde right after Mars goes direct, Venus going retrograde is going to go back into Pisces, into that sign of illusion. That sign. So there can be a sense of like, if Mars is taking some kind of action based on their heart, close your eyes to open your heart. There's something about not believing what you see, but believing another person's heart. This is like a new layer of Venus, another energy of Venus that says, I'm not going to be deluded. Okay. I'm going to now, after I've been into Aries, I see that like, maybe I don't want this. Maybe I want something else. And I'm reevaluating things. So I'm not going to be like easy pickings anymore. Okay. Especially for this particular person. I see Sag here, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio here. All right. And Leo too. So 8 of Pentacles, King of Wands, 10 of Swords. Wow. 6 of Swords, Knight of Cups, the Sun. So this really, it's so funny. I was thinking when I laid that down, I went, wow. I was like, oh, this is about not getting burned. This is about not getting burned. And then here's the Sun. So something about not getting burned, maybe actually physically don't get burned. Okay. But I mean, don't get burned in relationships or something like that. something about seeing through the veil, the veneer of romantic desire, passion. King and Queen of Wands here, the Page of Wands, and the Knight of Wands. So all and the Aries energy of the Emperor. There's Mars again, and the Four of Cups. I feel like Divine Feminine is slowing things down because I don't want to have to take, Venus is not comfortable necessarily being the lead sled dog, right? Mars is very comfortable with that. Interesting, I said that. There's the sled dog, right? So whoever has been kind of passive in the relationship, maybe it's reversed. Maybe it's the feminine energy has been the more dynamic, and the masculine energy has been the more passive. I almost feel like this is coming under some kind of scrutiny or reevaluation about the masculine saying, you know what, I didn't put in enough effort. And the feminine saying, well, maybe I was a little bit too strident or too not demanding, because I feel like the feminine is now becoming more aligned with their needs and wants and desires. So I think the energy of demanding is kind of like that's a hypercritical word to use. I feel like the feminine is becoming more assertive, more able to communicate, because Mars is going to be, Mercury will be conjuncting Venus during this whole time too. So Mercury basically says what Venus is evaluating or working through. Mercury is going to say that. And then Mercury is going to go retrograde in the middle of March, which is going to be interesting because, again, that's a reevaluation phase. And it's within the time space of Venus retrograde. So Venus and Mercury are always kind of together. And so they talk a lot. Mercury is the voice. And when Mercury is in retrograde, there's a bit of a silencing of the voice. And it's possible because it's like, I'm just getting this. I just heard this in my mind, clear as a bell. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And that is a very traditional kind of thing, especially little girls are taught. Okay. May not be true for masculine energy, but for feminine energy, there is a sense of like, if I don't have anything nice to say, I'm not going to say anything at all. And it's not about other people silencing you. It's about you deciding what is worthy, not nice, worthy. Okay. Like, I am not going to waste my time. That's what the more assertive Aries energy is giving Venus. I'm not going to waste my time, even if I have something nice to say. That's not relevant. It's not about that. It's about what is meaningful. Okay. And Venus is deciding what's meaningful now. Wow. So, I get this. I'm going to really clarify. Let's use a different deck. I'm going to clarify the Ten of Swords here because, wow, that was like, I won't get burned again. Okay. The Who. Okay. Mary Jo channeling The Who. All right. Ten of Swords. Thank you. Seven of Wands. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. Wow. Knight of Swords. Okay. Page of Pentacles. And underneath is the Justice card. So this is really about, this is the feminine energy saying, I need to create better boundaries. Rage has its place. Anger and rage has its place. So I feel like Venus is going to be learning quite a lot. Your feminine energy is going to be learning quite a lot about justice, about when something is meaningful to say versus when it's just nice or it's just appropriate or whatever. That's very old school kind of, manners for little girls. I will say, because I was a little girl once, and I know that to be true in my experience, that now the feminine energy, what the feminine energy is learning is, I'm going to say something that's going to make a difference. Instead of just kind of, oh, bless your heart. Okay. Instead of that, like we all know what that means, but instead of that, this is much more Buddha-esque or Sophia-esque about like when I say something, boy, is it chock full of meaning. And I expect the same in return. I'm not going to receive things anymore that are just kind of illusions or delusions or empty kind of platitudes or lots of flattery or whatever. Like, I'm surprised the Ace of Swords isn't here. But there is something about like I've kept it all in and it's like been stabbing me, all these truths that I haven't said, that I won't say out loud. Like it's all really challenging to me, and I'm not going to do that anymore. I feel like that's part of the Venus retrograde, that it's like not polite. In polite company, we don't say like all of those old rules are going to get kind of tossed out here. And there is something here about, when Venus goes this is true for every planet in retrograde. When Venus is halfway through the retrograde, it conjuncts the sun. That's how you know it's halfway done. Okay. It will conjunct the sun. And here's the sun here. And what happens when a planet conjuncts the sun is it's called a cazimi, or it can be called combust, which is that it is going to cleanse through sunshine, through sunlight, the best disinfectant there is, through sunshine. And that is about like truth, right? That is about, so it's kind of here already. And there's something here about stating the truth of feelings, because the Knight of Cups is here. And like giving feelings like a place of honor. Because I think for centuries, it's a distinctly divine feminine energy is around feelings, and has been devalued by hierarchical structures, by all of that. It's been devalued. But actually now, when people start to realize that their feelings are valid and their information in their bodies, it's really their intuition, it's really helping them navigate on the planet, wow, that gets a seat at the front of the line. Okay. That quality, or has been, masculine energy has a different way of looking at this, but feminine energy is, and everybody has feminine energy in them. Everybody has the divine feminine in them. If you're channeling the divine feminine, then you do give your feelings prominence. It's not just about logic or being up in your head about things. That we realize now that there's something flawed in that, really flawed. Like heart and empathy and feelings all have a place at the table, and it's the head of the table. Actually, it's that middle of the table. Like if you ever see how they do it in these, in these period dramas, we're talking about, a lot of British stuff. We're talking about The Crown. We're talking about other places. Like the seat of prominence is not at the head of the table. It's in the middle of the table, so that you can have most access to everybody on all elements of the table, and people can have access to you. The head of the table is kind of remote. That's a new thing. That is a relatively new thing, that we think the head of the table, because the head of the table is removed. Okay. It's its own side of the table. It's removed really from the conversation with the largest part of the table. And it's was seen as presiding over, as opposed to being connected to. Masculine, feminine. Okay. So here's the Emperor here, and this Four of Cups. I feel like there's a time here where the masculine doesn't kind of know how to respond to this. How do I now? Your energy has changed, divine feminine. Again, I'm just using these as energies, right? We all know we have both. And I keep saying that. I just want to keep reminding you of that. Um, Internally, what this might look like, if this is something you're going through just on your own without another person, then your feelings may scream really a lot louder about something, and you might be aware of what you don't want. You know, when we have something that we really love and we really want, there's a really wonderful feeling about that, but it's not as urgent as when we're like, don't want this. No, no, no. Like there just is a different quality to that energy. And I feel like there's a sense of, okay, I really don't want that 10 of swords anymore. So here's what I need to do to create the situation within my relationships, within my own being that says, okay, within my own being. So here he comes. Good boy. All right. So this is about an inspiration then, because this is Aries energy, this is the Emperor, this is Mars energy, and Mars is in Cancer, don't forget. It's not going back into Leo until I think it's April 17th. So this is really March energy. This Page of Wands, this Knight of Wands, there's now a different flavor to this kind of predatory looking energy there. There's a different flavor of it. There might be a more of a shared, balanced kind of desire flowing between two people that isn't predatory, certainly, but that is more like the masculine has the ability to say their feelings and the feminine has the ability to make boundaries. And like these things are starting to get navigated in a beautiful way. So why is this Four of Cups here? Because that means kind of stop. Like it's, you know, it could be an enjoyment of that. Seven of Swords, Four of Cups again, Page of Cups. Okay. There is something to iron out. So this is for people who are looking at this reading between you and another person. There is an apology that needs to be given. Okay. There is something that happened. Either someone ran away or the other person was kind of like, why did that happen? There is some truth that needs to be shared. This is Aquarian energy, and we all know that Pluto's in Aquarius. So the possibility of these feelings being shown from both masculine and feminine, being revered, being given a head seat at the middle of the table, being given that kind of prominence in the connection. Honesty now also needs to be given prominence because we have the Seven of Swords. So what slows this down is like, okay, I will share my feelings. And is that all we need to do? No, there's one more thing. We need to be honest. King of Swords. Okay, we need to be honest. And with that Cazimi, with Venus hitting conjunct the sun, there's definitely something about cleansing, clearing, getting moving on from the past. Okay, we're definitely moving on from the past in a new light. So you've reevaluated things. Now you have something new to say. You have some new boundaries. Masculine energy feels like they can speak their feelings. Okay, anything else here? Queen of Cups, there it is again. Three of Wands, Three of Pentacles, and the Six of Swords. This is about moving forward together. So I'm going to go deeper into this reading. I will look at any blocks that we might be coming upon. I will look deeper into the energy of the astrology. I'll tell you which signs have most impact with these energies, and we'll talk about what you don't see coming. All right. Okay, guys, Venus in retrograde, link is below. If you do want to continue with me and go deeper, I'll see you over there. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.